right, this is our Algebra 3 Test 9 review. Test 9 review. Algebra 3. Okay, I'm just going to go through this because I'm out of the room, so I'm going to go through this kind of question by question from 1 through 20 on your review. We'll start off with question number 1. We're looking at this. Thumbelina found that her goose could fly 3 times the speed of the wind. At this point, I know that what we're working with is a boat in the water question. Boat in the water questions, you know, we've got speed of the boat plus the speed of the water times time equals distance. This is what we call downstream, meaning it's at our back, helping us. Then we have boat speed minus the speed of the water times time equals distance. This is upstream or against it. All right, and they always start off with, you know, how our speed compares to the speed of the current of whatever's happening. So Thumbelina's goose could fly 3 times the speed of the wind, all right, which means it's the wind times 3 plus the speed of the wind. So over here we got 3 times the speed of the wind minus the speed of the wind because it's counteracting it. Okay, she traveled 138 miles upwind. All right, so we know we've got our 138 over here in 1 hour less than. So it'd be a t minus 1. 1 hour less than it took to go 368 miles. Okay, 368 miles downwind. How fast could the goose fly in still air? Meaning, what is the speed of the goose? Effectively, we're trying to find out what B is. All right, so you can start off over here on the left. 3W plus W is 4W. You could even go so far as to say 4WT equals 368. Okay, because we can go ahead and multiply that by T. Over here, we're getting 2W times T minus 1. So we distribute it a little bit differently. Okay, we're getting 2WT minus 2W equals 138. Okay, and because, let's see, over here we can go ahead and divide by 4 and find out what WT actually equals. Okay, so 368 divided by 4. So WT equals 92. WT equals 92. Okay. Hopefully we'll still get to the same answer. I'm looking at my notes and I did it a little bit differently, but hopefully it won't affect it by very much. All right. So if we know WT equals 92, we have 2 times 92 minus 2W equals 138. Okay, 2 times 92. We get 184 minus 2W equals 138. 138 minus 184. 138 minus 184 gives me negative 46. Let's move our board down here a little bit. Okay, negative 2W equals negative 46. Divide by negative 2. W equals 23. Okay, speed of the current is 23 miles per hour, which is correct, so we haven't broken anything here. Finally, we need to take 3 times 23, and 3 times 23 is 69, and we are miles per hour, I believe. Miles per hour. So this is our final answer. Not just W, but really what we want to know is what is this right here? What's the speed of the boat? So you're looking at it like that. Once I know W, I'll multiply it by whatever the factor of W is. Okay. All right. Number 2. Okay, number 2, find the number that is 2/3 of the way from negative 5 1/3 to 9 2/3. You've seen a lot of these lately. in your homework, initial plus change times final minus initial, I believe, is our formula. Our initial number is negative 5 1/3. Our change is 2/3. Our final was 9 2/3 minus negative 5 1/3. Okay. All right, order of operations prevails. We're going to look at that as plus 9 2/3 plus 5 1/3. 9 plus 5 is 14. 2/3 plus 1/3 is 1. So we wind up with 15 here. 15. So we've got negative 5 1/3 plus 2/3 times 15. 2 times 15 is 30, right? So we're getting 30 thirds. Okay, negative 5 1/3 plus 30 thirds. Okay, you could probably go ahead. We know that 30 over 3 is 10, but because we're still working with this number right here, I'd go ahead and get that in terms of thirds. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15 minus 1. I'm getting negative 16 thirds plus 30 thirds should be positive 14 thirds. And that's my answer right there. Okay? And because 14 thirds, let's see what that is as a decimal. The only way I would take this as a decimal is if you put 4.6 with a repeat bar over that. If you put 4.6 or even 4.7, that's going to be a wrong answer on the test. Okay? You ought to be able to give me an answer like that. All right, number 3. Number 3. The equilibrant of 2, hypotenuse of 2, 165. Notice that it didn't say resultant. 3 and 214 degrees. Okay? All right, we're at number 3. Okay, so let's see, starting off here, right, 165 degrees is going to bring you here with 15 degrees shy of being on that line. We've got a hypotenuse of 2. Okay. Let's see. And then over here, 214 degrees. Let's see, it's going to bring us into the third quadrant. Okay, should be 34 degrees past 180. Okay, with a hypotenuse of 3, which means my x is negative, my y is negative over here, my x is negative, my y is positive. So I want to know all that stuff going in. Okay, let's see, we need our cosine for our x value. In fact, I'm going to do my sine value first. So I'm going to do 15 sine, 15 sine, hold on a second, that's wrong, 2 sine 15. Okay, 2 sine 15. And that's going to give me 0.5176. 2 cosine 15 should give me, in this case, because I need to know that my x is negative, I'm going to go ahead and put this in, negative 1.9319. Okay? Over here, my hypotenuse is 3, so 3 sine 34. 3 sine 34, my y is negative, so I'm going to list it as such, negative 2.4871. 3 cosine 34, and that's also negative 1.16. Now it's not going to put that in your calculator as negative. You have to put it as negative. You have to see that in the graph and know where it's at. All right? So we're going to add these things up. Okay, we're going to add our y's. So we get 0.5176 minus 2.4871. Okay, and make sure I get the right thing in here. Oh, I see what I did. I got the wrong number here. Should be negative 1.6776. Double check that. 3 cosine 34. Ooh, I got some stuff backwards and upside down. Let me fix this. 3 sine 34. Oop, that's why, because I'm in radian mode. 3 sine 34. 3 sine 34. Negative 1.6776. 3 cosine 34. Negative 2.4871. Okay, let's double check our brothers. 2 sine 15. Okay, 0.5176. 2 cosine 15. Negative 1.9319. Yep, all that looks good. Okay, now 0.5176 plus negative 1.6776 should give me, okay, a y value of negative 1.16. Okay, negative 1.9319 plus negative 2.4871 gives me an x value of negative 4.419. Okay, which means I'm looking at it like this. Okay, I'm down here, I'm negative 4.419, negative 1.16. Okay, looks like that. So what I need is a hypotenuse. Okay, so I have the square root of negative 4.419 squared plus negative 1.16 squared. That's going to give me my hypotenuse. So square root of negative 4.419 squared plus negative 1.16 squared, all underneath the square root. I'm getting an answer of, let me find it here, 4.57. Okay. I want to find it. We're going to call it negative 4.57. Right, the next thing that we need is we need a degree. Okay, and degree is going to be found by using inverse tangent, opposite, opposite, negative 1.16, over negative 4.419. Okay, inverse tangent. Negative 1.16 divided by negative 4.419. And that gives me 14.708 degrees. Now, before we jump to putting that in, all that means is that this is 14.708 degrees. What they're looking for is the distance from here to here in degrees. So we're going to add that to 180. So we add 180 to it. and we get 194.71 degrees. Okay, and that's our answer. Okay, right here. Okay, and honestly, I am questioning why that's a negative, and so I'm going to go ahead and maybe even take that out. And if you give it that to me as a positive hypotenuse, you're going to have a right answer. Okay. In fact, I'll even double check the answer key on the actual test itself. Actually, no, it comes out as a negative, so you want to have a negative there. Okay, just as a warning, everything else will work out the exact same way that this has worked out, or you want to avoid this question. Okay? All right, next up. That was 3. Let's look at number 4. Number 4, if a rectangle's length is increased by 50% and its width is decreased by 70%, what is the percent change in area? Okay? So area equals length times width, right? If area, let's say our length is increased by 50%, we get something like that, okay? And let's say our width is decreased by 70% of our width, okay? We get something like that. Okay, now we can FOIL this. L times W is LW, keeping in mind that standard area equals LW, okay? Then we'd also get negative 0.7 LW, okay, from here to here. We'd get positive 0.5 LW from here to here. And we would get negative 0.35 LW here. Okay, all of those LWs allow me to combine like terms. So I get LW, and whenever I combine all of that, I get minus 0.55 LW. So what's happening is that the original area is being decreased by 55%. You can do it like that, if that makes sense to you. Okay, number 5. Number 5, evaluate. Okay, 9 factorial over 3 factorial, 6 factorial. Of course, you can look at 9 times 8 times 7. But you should notice that 6 on is going to be eliminated by 6 on. So rather than writing it all through, I'm going to go ahead and do this. What's going to be left is 3 times 2 times 1. Okay? Well, I mean, so I'm getting 9 times 8 times 7 divided by 6. Okay? So if I really want to stay true to not using a calculator, I'm going to take my biggest two numbers, 9 times 8. I believe 9 times 8 is 72. I'm going to check that. Times 8. 72. 72 times 7. Okay, that's 14. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 1 is 50, so I get 504. 504 divided by 6. Well, 6 won't go into 5, but it'll go into 50. Let's see. It should go into it 8 times. It's 48. 2 left over, 4. 6 times 4 is 24. I should get 84. Let's double check that answer. 84 for 5 is my answer. Okay, all without a calculator. Okay, 6. 6. We have 3, so it's a summation. 3 is our max. 1 is our minimum. We have 3 to the q over 3 plus q. So that means as I set it up down here, the first thing is I'm going to get 3 to the first over 3 plus 1 plus 3 squared over 3 plus 2 plus 3 to the third over 3 plus 3. Then we simplify. All right, so that's giving me what, 3 over 4 plus 9 over 5 plus 27 over 6. Okay, so we've got 3 fractions here. We could multiply them all by something that's going to give us a common denominator, or we could pick 2 of them, get a common denominator there, and go from there. So let's say that we try to do that. Common denominator here is 20. So if we look at it like this, 5 over 5, 4 over 4, you could probably do a lot of this in your calculator, but I like to figure out how much we can do on our own. Okay, so that's what, 15 plus 9 times 4 is 36 over 20. 15 and 36, 51 over 20. Okay, so 51 twentieths plus 27 sixths. Okay, well, both those numbers will go into 60, right? So I can multiply that by 3 over 3. Multiply this by 10 over 10. Okay, let's see. 3 times 51, 153 over 60 plus, what is that, 270 over 60? Okay, 153 plus 270 gives me 423 over 60. Let's see, 423 divided by 60 reduces. Gives me 141 over 20. And that is our answer. Now, could you have gotten there a little bit quicker than I did? Sure. The biggest deal that you need to show me is you need to show me all of this. If your calculator give you the right answer, great, but I've seen a lot of graphing calculators give you the wrong answer, so you need to at least set it up right. Okay, show me that. All right, where are we at here? That was 6. Let's look at 7. 7, all right, we've got f of x is 1 over x. They want us to find f of x plus h minus f of x. This part right here screws more of you guys up than anything else. All right, we want f of x plus h, so that is 1 over x plus h, okay, minus 1 over x, okay? All right, well, need a common denominator here. Let's see, for that, always simplest to multiply by x over x, and this side by x plus h over x plus h. So that's going to give me x. Now, I'm going to minus x minus h, okay? Because this is a -1 that's multiplying by x and positive h. Okay, so I've got x minus h all over x times x plus h. These two x's will cancel out, leaving me with negative h over, let's see, we'll get an answer here, over just x times x plus h. And that's it. Okay, that's what it simplifies to. Be careful with it. 8. Factor 27 x cubed y to the ninth minus 8q to the sixth z to the 12th. It's a difference of 2 cubes. So my formula here is f minus s times f squared plus fs plus s squared. There will be no negatives in the right-hand side of this. So the first thing I have to do is cube root these two things. Okay? Cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of x cubed is x. Cube root of y to the ninth is y cubed. Minus cube root of 8 is 2. Cube root of q to the sixth is q squared. Cube root of z to the 12th is z to the fourth. Okay? Take exponents, divide by the root number, in this case, a 3. Okay? F squared. F squared is my 3xy cubed. So 3 squared is 9. X squared is x squared. Y cubed squared is 3 times 2 is 6. Plus f times s. So 3 times 2 is 6. It is a positive 6, not a negative 6. X, y cubed, q squared, z to the fourth because no variables are shared, plus s squared. You don't include the negative, so 2 squared is 4. Q squared is q to the fourth. Z to the fourth squared is z to the eighth. And we are done. Double checking my work here. Everything seems to be in order. So this is your answer. Anything less than that is wrong. Okay? 9. Let's see for a question here. Okay. Let's say they said h theta equals tan theta, k theta equals cosine theta. So what we're going to reduce this to is cosine, because h theta, h theta. All right, so we replace h with tan. So tan 315 degrees plus k. K is cosine now. Cosine 420 degrees. All right, 315 degrees. It's going to go all the way around and be short. What is that, 45 degrees? Okay, so this is going to be 1, negative 1, radical 2. Over here, 420 degrees. I'm going to take 420, subtract 360, find out how far past it goes. Okay, it goes past 60 degrees. So basically what we're saying is that it goes 60 degrees past, so 30, 60, 90, 1, radical 3, and 2. Okay, now we look at our ratios. Tangent. Tangent from my reference angle is opposite over adjacent. So negative 1 over 1 plus cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse plus 1/2. So negative 1 plus 1/2 is going to be negative 1/2. Let's check our answer there. Number 9, negative 1/2 is my answer. I can plug that in my calculator if I want to check, but that's the work I want to see. 10, halfway there. Okay, 10. Evaluate. Okay, cosine. This has two parts. Cosine, arctan, radical 3. I want to think of this as radical 3 over 1 because it says tangent, radical 3 over 1. Well, that would be opposite over adjacent. So radical 3 over adjacent 1, 2. So this is, 60 degrees here. Okay, so the cosine of this, cosine is 1/2. Okay, so 10a is 1/2. Let's look at B. Sine, where r cosine is radical 3 over 2. Okay, graph it. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So my adjacent is radical 3, my hypotenuse is 2, which means that must be 1, which means this is 30 degrees. But I just want the sine. Sine from that reference angle is opposite over hypotenuse. So that means B, yeah, let's make that the same color. B is 1/2. Okay. So these are my answers for 10. Okay. 11, down the downhill slide now. 11. 11, I'll tell you which coordinates that you want to use. Now it's looking for y equals mx plus b. On this, I want to pick out two coordinates that come out at nice, neat, easy spots. Okay, I want to look at the bottommost left. Looks like its x coordinate is 40. I want to be real careful looking at the y-axis. Okay, looks like it's going just by ones up, but it starts at 5. Okay, because the next one up is 6. Between 6 and 8 is 7, so it's going by ones. Another coordinate that would be handy to use, let's see, looks like it's going by 20s across the x-axis, so it looks like 100 for the x value, and it goes up to 10. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is get the slope, so y2 minus y1, so that would be 10 minus 5 over 100 minus 40. Okay, that's going to give me 5 over 60, which should reduce to, I believe, 1/12. 5 divided by 60. Okay, so that gives me my slope of 1/12. Now I'm going to use my formula y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 to get the rest of the equation. Okay, I'm going to use 40 and 5 for my numbers in my formula here. So we have y minus 5 equals 1/12 for my slope, x minus 40. Okay, so y minus 5 equals 1/12 x. Okay, you're getting what? You're getting negative 40 over 12, which is just going to stay that way for now. We're going to add 5. But in adding 5, okay, I need to get that as a common denominator of 5 over 12. So be multiplying 5 over 1 by 12 over 12. Should be adding 60/12 is equal to 5. Y equals 1/12 x. Negative 40 plus 60 is 20, positive 20/12. Let's see what we have for an answer if I'm anywhere close. Let's see, what question number is this, 11? Seemed like I'm way off. Maybe I didn't use, maybe that first coordinate wasn't as accurate as I thought it was. Because they got 25/3. See, on this question on the actual test, you're going to be able to ask me, oh, I see what's wrong here. On the y-axis, that's going by hundreds. All right. So these coordinates up here aren't just, that's not just 5, that's 500. And that's not just 10, that's 1,000. Okay. Okay. So that would mean that we've kind of got to go back to the drawing board for really all of it. Let's see if we can still get there. All right, so you'd wind up with 1,000 minus 500 over 100 minus 40. We should still get 60 here, but instead we're on the top, we're going to get 500 over 60. See if we get the right slope at least. And we do. Well, that gets us to 25 thirds. So it does give us the right slope this time. Okay. Let's go ahead and use 40 and 500 again. Let's use y minus 500 equals 25 thirds. X minus 40. Okay. Apologize for the screw up here, but better to see where your mistake might be. Okay. All right. Y minus 500 equals 25 thirds x, and we've got 25 times negative 40, okay, which is negative 1,000 divided by 3. That's just giving me minus 1,000 over 3. Okay, we want to add 500 to it. Okay, but in order to get that as something over 3, you'd have to multiply by 3, which is going to be plus 1,500 over 3. So that's giving me y equals 25 thirds x plus 500 over 3. Let's see if that reduces it all. The decimal, it gives you 166.67, or just this right here. So you can get these as decimals, or you can leave them as fractions. Okay. All right. Sorry about the time on that one. Let's see. Let's look at number 12. 12, herd stampeded D feet, R feet per minute. All right. So we're going to get distance, rate times time, rate, distance over time, distance over rate, distance, rate, and time. All right. Herd stampeded D feet. Okay, D feet, R feet per minute, and arrived at the OK Corral 7 minutes late. So my time is D over R plus 7. How fast should the herd have stampeded to have arrived on time? So how fast is R? Okay, we're going to go the same distance. The only thing we're going to change now is we're going to change our time to be D over R minus 7. Okay, we'll multiply by R over R. Okay, down here we're going to get D over 1 over D minus 7R over R. We can't divide by a fraction, but we can multiply by the reciprocal. We've seen this up 10 billion times. We get dr over d minus 7r. Okay, and that should be in, let's see, what is our time, or how fast, feet per minute. Okay, that's my answer right there. All right, 13. 6 soccer players could eat so much. All right, this is a rate times workers times time equals jobs question. We're always going to solve the first time for rate. Let's see, we've got 6 soccer players. They can eat in 15 minutes, and their job is to eat 60 hot dogs. Okay, 6 times 15. It is 90, so we have 90. R equals 60. Divide by 90. Okay, R equals 6/9, which is, let's see, divide by 3, 2/3. 2/3. My rate is 2/3. So that's what I have to solve for first. We're going to keep that 2/3 and bring it into the next part of the equation. How long would it take 12 soccer players? So 2/3 times 12 times t, because we're asking how long, we don't know, to eat 96 hot dogs. 2/3 times 12 is 24/3. Let's see, 24 divided by 3 is 8, right? So we get 8t equals 96 divided by 8. T equals, let's see, 96 divided by 8 is 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Okay, should follow that same pattern. Okay, 14. All right. Let's see. Barney could label 5 rocks in 10 minutes. 5 could label 3 rocks in 8 minutes. If they work together, how many minutes would it take Barney and 5 to label 49 rocks? All right, 13. This is 14. All right, so this is rate times time plus rate times time equals jobs. All right. So Barney could label 5 rocks in 10 minutes. That's rocks per minute. Okay. Simplifies to 1 rock every 2 minutes. Okay. Let's see. Times our time plus she could do 3 rocks every 8 minutes. 3/8 t. I don't think that really reduces. T plus 3/8 t. And we need that to be, let's see, we're looking for 49 rocks. Okay. We can go ahead and get this common by multiplying by 4/4. So we would get 4/8 t plus 3/8 t. That would give me 7/8 t equals 49. We want to solve for t. We can't divide by that fraction, but we can multiply by 8/7, the reciprocal. So t equals, hold on, 49 times 8 is 392 divided by 7 is 56 minutes. Way to go. Okay. All right. Number 15. All right, we want to know the domain. We got square root of x plus 2 over x squared minus 5x minus 14. We always start with the top. We got x plus 2. We cannot have, basically what we're looking here is that this has to be greater than or equal to 0. So in this case, x plus 2 has to be greater than or equal to 0 minus 2. X has to be greater than or equal to -2. So we'll start off with x is the set of all real values such that x has to be greater than or equal to -2. Then we do down here, what we cannot have is we cannot have 0 in the denominator. So we got x and x, we got plus and minus, things that multiply to be 14 are 2 and 7. My 7 would have to be greater. It's 2 greater than, it's 5 greater than 2, which is going to give me that difference. So we know that x cannot be equal to -2, okay? And x cannot be equal to 7. And because both of those numbers are either equal to or greater than -2, we have to include them both. Cannot be -2 or 7. Okay? So this is what we are looking for. Okay, 16. 16. All right, find the inverse function. We have y equals 10 11ths x plus 1 over 22. Rule number 1, switch the x into y. X equals 10 over 11ths y plus 1 over 22. Rule number 2, solve for y. Okay, so subtract 1 over 22. Okay, minus 1 over 22. So we have x minus 1 over 22 equals 10 11ths y. Okay, can't divide by that fraction, but I can multiply both sides by 11 tenths. Okay. All right, so y equals 11 tenths x. And let's see, 11 times negative 1 is negative 11. And 10 times 22 is 220. So if I check my answer key here, and this will go on to reduce down, 11 tenths x won't, but 11 over 220 will. To negative 1/20th. Okay. All right, 17. 17 is a proof. All right. So they're showing you something that looks like this. Okay, we've got a W, we've got an X, V, Z, and Y. Okay, let's see. My two-column proof. So we got our statement, we got our reason. Let's look at our givens first. Angle X, Y, Z is congruent to angle V, Z, Y. And before I go much further, I'm going to draw two triangles. Try to do a little bit better. Let's call this X, Y, Z. Let's call this one Y, Z, V. And we're going to look at those. So based upon this first given, okay, angle X, Y, Z, and angle V, Z, Y are congruent. Okay, great. Okay, the next one, angle X, Z, Y is congruent to angle V, Y, Z. This is another given. Let's go ahead and put it on the board. Okay, X, Z, Y. Okay, and Z, Y, V. Hold on. Yeah. Those two things right there are congruent. Okay. All right, we want to write a two-column proof. What we're trying to prove is that XZ is congruent to VY. Now, the other thing a lot of people miss is that what we can include is we can say YZ is congruent to YZ, and this is reflexive axiom because this is shared. It's a shared link through here, so this is the same as that. Now I know that triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle VZY through the angle side angle congruency postulate. And because I know that, then I know that XZ is congruent to Vy through CPCTC. That's what we're looking for. Okay? All right. 18. 18, we got 3 log questions. So we have an A. A is log base x, 8 1/25 equals 3. So x comes up, 3 comes over here, 8 over 125 goes there. We're going to cube root both sides so that x equals, okay, the cube root of 8. Cube root of 8 is 2. The cube root of 125 is 5. X equals 2/5. Not square root, cube root. Okay. All right. Let's look at B. Log base 6, 1/36 equals x. So 6 to the x equals 1 over 36. 6 to the x equals 1 over 6 squared. 6 to the x equals 6 to the negative 2. X therefore equals negative 2. Okay. C. Log to the 1/4, or sorry, log base 1/4 x equals negative 2. So 1 to the 4th, the negative 2 equals x. Okay, well, that's going to be 1 over 1/4 squared. That gives me a positive exponent equals x. Okay, we're going to keep sliding down here and slide up. Okay, that is 1 over 1 divided by 1 over 16. Can't divide by a fraction, I can multiply by a reciprocal. So that's given me 16 over 1 equals x, or x equals 16. Let's check some of these answers here. So 16 is right, 2/5 was right, and negative 2 was correct. 19. Okay, 19. All right, we've got a graph. One looks like this. Another graph over here looks like this. All right, we know that this is y equals, let's see, negative square root of x. We want to know what is this. All right. Well, this will flip it below the x-axis. This will flip it below, we'll flip it across the y-axis. This will move it left or right. Okay, this will move it up or down. Okay, you'll want to notice that all we've done is move it across the y-axis. So, but it's also still flipped below. So what we should get here is the negative square root of negative x. And you can check that graph in your calculator to see that it comes out right. Okay, 20, 20. All right, you've got to figure, looks like this, line across here, 4x plus 1, 7x minus 5, 3x plus 8. Okay, your top and bottom are, your top and bottom added together divided by 2. The average of your top and bottom is your mid-segment, or your median of this particular trapezoid. So 4x plus 1 plus 7x minus 5 divided by 2 equals 3x plus 8. right? They want to know what x is. You can go ahead and multiply by 2, okay? Combine some of your like terms, so 4x and 7x is 11x. 1 plus negative 5 is negative 4. Distribute your 2 over here, you're getting 6x plus 16. I'd add 4, subtract 6x, you're getting 5x equals 20, divided by 5, x equals 4. You don't need to plug it in anywhere because it doesn't ask for anything else. And that is your review. I don't think that there's anything else in here. I know I went fairly quick through a lot of that. Hopefully that'll help you out. You be ready for your test.